What is going on, guys? Today I wanted to go ahead and discuss a lot of things that have been on my mind here. It's gonna be me talking about a lot of different things that have been going on in the gaming community just because there's been a lot of stuff. But in this video, what I wanted to talk about was about Ubisoft and how it's very surprising and crazy to think about that Ubisoft at one point was at the very top of the food chain when it comes to them making games. I remember back on the PS3, Xbox 360 era when they were making games like Far Cry 2, Far Cry 3, Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, Revelations, Splinter Cell, just so many different types of good games in my opinion that today I still feel like they hold up and honestly are just always fun to go back to and play. But lately it seems like Ubisoft has just been making nothing but miss after miss after miss, such as Skull and Bones. I cannot believe that I have forgotten that amazing game. They also went ahead and of course released throughout the years games like Defant, Star Wars Outlaws, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, and as well as the Rogue Prince of Persia, Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora, which honestly, when it comes with a bunch of these games, a lot of them should have been slam dunks. For example, Star Wars Outlaws was one of the big ones that was supposed to come out, but apparently that game actually flopped when it came to its sales, costing them so much money and it becoming a huge flop. Same goes with Skull and Bones. They apparently went ahead and unfortunately delayed one of their biggest games that was supposed to release this year. There's a lot of internal stuff that was going on due to internal things happening. They had to go ahead and I guess pull out all of the games that they had that they were promising to show at the TGS of this year, and they just kind of disappeared and also announced that Assassin's Creed Shadows has been delayed until next year in 2025. It seems to be leading that this could literally be the downfall of a Ubisoft and as a whole. There's even talks about how there's actually, it sounds like Tencent is looking forward to potentially buying Ubisoft, as they've been in talk with the Guillemot family, who are basically one of the founders of Ubisoft as a whole. Oh man, it's crazy to think about that this is what's happening when it comes to Ubisoft, just because, I mean, some of the games that they've released this year have been actually pretty good. They've been pretty much bangers, I'd say. One of the games, at least, that I would say is Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. That is actually a game that I really loved and enjoyed on my Nintendo Switch, and have actually not been yet, but I have gone pretty far into it. But I do want to go back and actually beat the game. But that game is one of those games that I feel like it should have been praised a little bit more. But unfortunately, I mean, Prince of Persia has just been kind of put on the side now to Assassin's Creed, that they're not really going to be making as much money as Assassin's Creed or any other brand really when it comes to Prince of Persia, unfortunately. Same goes with the Call of Duty killer, or the Call of Duty kind of clone that people have been calling it, X-Defiant. I actually was one of those people that actually made videos about X-Defiant here on the channel, looking forward to the game and also just having some rough edges with it and talking, just putting my personal opinion out there for you guys all to know. And when the game finally released, it was actually a pretty fun game. I really did enjoy it, but then it got to the point where it just felt too grindy and I just couldn't, I don't know, it just something about it, I just kind of lost really a lot of interest into it for some reason early on. And I have been wanting to go back into it, but it's one of those games that now for me that it's like I remember the game and then I just completely forget about it afterwards, like immediately like that. They have until, from what I've heard, season 3 for them to actually increase their player count, or else they're shutting down X-Defiant. It's just a lot of craziness that's going on right now with Ubisoft. I never in a million years would have thought that this would have been Ubisoft's future, especially back then when like Assassin's Creed 2 and all those other, the Ezio trilogies and all those other big massive games. I never really would have thought that this would have been what led to Ubisoft's downfall, unfortunately. They used to be the ones that everyone would actually be copying and trying to follow them. Kind of the, one of the big examples was the Ubisoft open world, which was basically have these outpost area that you would go climb onto or whatever, and then you'd pretty much get this whole, kind of get your map filled out and you get more information and quests and stuff like that for it. That was a big thing back in 2013, and they just haven't really changed from that formula. They've tried to, of course, add more things to it, but it just got to the point where like every single game at this point has just become that or either just an RPG, money grabbing hungry kind of game. One example is Assassin's Creed Odyssey, or just Assassin's Creed now in general. I personally am not a fan of Assassin's Creed the last 3 big Assassin's Creed games, such as Assassin's Creed Origins, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Origins, I will give the exception to. I did actually enjoy the story of Origins, but gameplay wise, again, I just don't really like this whole RPG formula that they have been going with Assassin's Creed. When Assassin's Creed Mirage released, that's when I actually was super excited and played the heck out of that game. That it actually was a lot of fun, and honestly would make me really excited to see Assassin's Creed go back to this normal formula. But then looking at Assassin's Creed Shadows, it seems to be going back to that RPG kind of. Because of that, that's actually one of the other bigger reasons why I just stopped caring about Assassin's Creed Shadows. And I'm just not a fan of the RPG elements that they've been adding. Same goes with them adding the exact same elements to Far Cry. So there's just so many different things that can be pinpointed here as to why Ubisoft has been falling down and are not as at the top as they used to be. I mean, back then it was Nintendo, of course, Microsoft, Sony, but then you also had other companies like EA and Ubisoft when they would have E3s or press conferences, and those would always be the big ones. I remember I would always be excited for Ubisoft just because they did have great games to showcase. It's now the biggest, it's the lowest that it's ever been in years. So who knows? I honestly hope that at this point I'm seeing it as Assassin's Creed Shadows is their final grace, and if they cannot succeed with Assassin's Creed Shadows, this might be the end of Ubisoft as a whole. I'm really worried, and if Ubisoft does get bought out or gets put on a shelf, I'm really upset that we won't be able to see potentially the Princess of Persia: Sands of Time remake. Same goes with the Splinter Cell reboot. Very upset about if Ubisoft can't get their shit together. So who knows? We'll see how the future holds for Ubisoft. You guys let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And yeah, with that being said, I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys.